Real estate continues to show unprecedented strength this year, and all signs indicate that this strength will continue in 2021 and beyond. To echo this very bold statement, let's talk about Zillow. Zillow has shared they are forecasting a 7% home price appreciation over the next 12 months. In fact, I'm hard-pressed to find anyone that is predicting real estate will not rise in 2021. Yes, the uncertainty that 2020 brought to the world has not impacted real estate or real estate values. As myself and fellow mortgage strategist Logan Martini look forward, the clearest indicator that gives us confirmation of the future of real estate and values is supply and demand. Low supply with high demand creates a potential for bidding wars. In fact, I recently read an article that shared that over half of the home sales in August 2020 resulted in a bidding war. My name is Kevin Martini, and I'm a mortgage strategist, and this is episode 113 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast, which I'm calling 3 Strategies to be Victorious in a Bidding War.
This is the Martini Mortgage Podcast with Kevin Martini.
Let me share a couple of crazy nuggets with you. 69% of the homes that were sold on the market were on the market for less than a month. 55% of the home sales in August 2020 resulted in a bidding war. I have a couple of tips on how to be victorious in a bidding war. But first, let me talk about the market on the aggregate. Right now, there is an undersupply of homes on the market today. This is putting pressure on prices. This price pressure is what is creating the bidding war environment. And I believe this environment is not going anywhere anytime soon. Always know that a seller and a buyer have 2 different objectives. Sellers are concerned about the price, more specifically where prices are headed in the short term. When you are a buyer, you need to be most concerned about not the price, but your primary objective should be the cost. Right now, even with rising prices, the cost to own a home is lower because of epic mortgage rates. Hashtag Kevin Martini Live, winning tip number 1 to be successful in a bidding war. Being ready and willing to buy a home is irrelevant to a seller. The seller could really care less if you love their home, since the likelihood that many families will share that exact same sentiment. As I shared earlier, more than half of the homes on the market in August resulted in a bidding war. In this market, well, in any market for that matter, you need to properly communicate to a seller that you are ready, willing, and able to buy their home. The only way that you can communicate that is by being fully approved and present an approval letter from a local and trusted mortgage strategist. An approval letter from the Martini Mortgage Group at Benchmark Mortgage screams that you are making a same as cash offer. There's a material difference between a qualification letter and an approval letter. A qualification letter says that the loan officer thinks that you should be fine, whereas the approval letter says the mortgage strategist has reviewed not just your credit, but also your income documents and your asset documents, and the only thing you need to move forward is the appraisal and title work. Let me put you in the shoes of the seller for a moment. You're selling a house and your home for sale, and you have received 3 exact offers with all identical terms. Offer 1 is a qualification letter from a local lender. Offer 2 is a qualification letter from an internet lender. Offer 3 is from me, Kevin Martini, a local trusted mortgage strategist with providing my approval letter. What offer would you pick? If you ask me or if you ask the seller, they would pick my approval letter, and most likely they would pick the approval letter even if my terms or my buyer's terms were not as lucrative as the other two offers. I have found no seller wants to put all their family eggs in a basket of some chap from the internet that thinks you can buy. Nor do they want to accept an offer from someone that has a letter that says the loan officer thinks the buyer can buy. A seller wants certainty. An approval letter from the Martini Mortgage Group says the buyer is making a same as cash offer. Winning in a bidding war requires work before you start looking for the home. It should always be home loan first and then go find your home. I say this for several reasons. Let me start with the secondary reason. When you find the right place to call home, you need to present a property-specific approval letter that clearly communicates you are able, ready, willing, and making a same as cash offer on the home. Now let me share the most important reason. Before you fall in love with the home, you need to have price and cost clarity. You should always know before you owe. There is nothing worse than falling in love with a home that is outside of your budget. Or even worse, falling in love with a home that you cannot afford. This is a good segue for hashtag Kevin Martini Live winning tip number 2 to be successful in a bidding war. Know what you want to pay before you fall in love. It should always be home loan first and then go find your home. As a buyer, regardless if the real estate environment is competitive or not, you need to have price and cost clarity with certainty. Let me expand. Some families I work with can afford a Mercedes, but just because they can afford a Mercedes, it does not mean that they want to spend the money that a Mercedes costs. Maybe this was a bad example, so let me say it in a different way. It is not about what you can afford. It's about what you are willing to pay every month. As a mortgage strategist, it is my obligation, responsibility, and duty to provide you or my clients with a 360-degree perspective of all the options and find the right mortgage solution for them. With many families I work with, I reverse engineer their comfort payment into a purchase price so the real estate professional can be laser focused at a certain price point. This strategy provides the families with certainty and takes the emotion out of the equation. Remember this, it is my opinion, money is made when you buy, not when you sell real estate. Getting serious about what you want to pay monthly and getting serious about what you want to put towards the transaction before the home is not just nice, it's smart. You know what else is smart? Getting approved before you start looking for a home on the web or hopping in the realtor's car. Hashtag Kevin Martini Live, winning tip number 3 to be successful in a bidding war. Make your best offer with intelligence. In August 2020, oh, by the way, August is the date of the most recent data. In August 2020, there were over 3 offers for every home sold in August. Sometimes I have found a seller will get all the offers and then go to all that made the offer and invite them to submit their best and final. Most of the time, the seller will accept one of the offers they have, and for this reason, it is my opinion, you should make your best offer first. Now, let me share this disclaimer. I am not a real estate agent. I am a mortgage strategist. I'm just sharing my opinion. Consult with your real estate agent. This tip, called best offer with intelligence, let me expand a little bit on it. With some sellers, timing may be more important than price. An example would be a flexible move-in date. You should encourage your real estate agent to seek from the seller's agent what terms the seller would find favorable. Let me give you a recap of the 3 Kevin Martini Live winning tips to be successful in a bidding war. Number 1, be ready, willing, able, and approved so that you can make a same as cash offer. Number 2, know what you want to pay before you fall in love. And number 3, make your best offer with intelligence. Remember that it should always be home loan first and then go find your home. When you are educated and prepared, you'll be able to move turbo fast and confidently in any market. Oh, by the way, there may be things to consider when buying a home as a first-time home buyer or as a repeat home buyer that you may have forgotten. That is why myself and fellow mortgage strategist Logan Martini curate every season a home buyer guide that simply and effectively communicates what you need to know about the housing market, what you need to know before you buy a home, and what to expect in the process of buying a home. The fall 2020 edition of the Martini Buyer Guide is called Things to Consider When Buying a Home, and it's available for free and packed with priceless information for one that's thinking about buying a home in Raleigh, North Carolina, or really anywhere in the U.S. for that matter. Now, you can get free access by going to www.martinibuyerguide.com. Again, martinibuyerguide.com. If you have any questions about what you've heard in this podcast, or questions about what you read in the Martini Buyer Guide, maybe you have questions about the current rate environment, or you'd like to learn about the unique home loan solutions the Martini Mortgage Group at Benchmark Mortgage offers. If that's the case, I invite you to call us by dialing 919-238-4934. Thank you for investing your time to tune in to the Martini Mortgage Podcast.
Information contained in this podcast presentation is for general product information purposes only. Arklatex Financial Services, LLC, NMLS number 2143, doing business as Benchmark Mortgage, makes no representations or warranties of any kind expressed or implied about the completeness, reliability, stability, or availability with respect to the information, products, or services. All loans subject to borrower qualifying. Other restrictions may apply. Branch Manager Kevin Martini, NMLS number 143962. Branch located at 507 North Blunt Street, Raleigh, North Carolina 27604. Contact the branch by calling 919-238-4934. Equal housing opportunity.